Hello everyone. I want to talk to you a little bit about, give you some pointers on Chapter 5 as part of your lab. This is number 5, Chapter 5, program exercise in your 7th edition book, page 339. I assigned number 8, 9, and 10 for you. So if you could please follow along with me and see what I'd like for you to do in these things. Chapter 5 is a control structure, and it talks about pre- and post-test loops with this thing. I hope by now you're familiar with the trace table, or hand trace table. That's how I learned it. So let's get started with this one right here. So again, you still have your three header notes with this thing, and this is Chapter 5. Programming. This is number 8. This is number 8 in your program exercise with this. So this is your program challenge, number 8. Let me talk to you about this. You still have your skeleton on here, right? Pound include, and I'm just gonna let you fill in the rest, and you have your username space. So I don't have to write this all out by now within all of this, right? So, and then you have your int main method on here, right? So the thing is, I like about number 8 is that it has steps in, so you can take a look at exactly what you are going to about to do. So the first thing it says, write a program that uses a while loop. You're going to do everything on number 8, everything from part A to part E predominantly. Is related to one another. Part F has nothing to do with part A, B, C, D, and E. So there are some parts in here. So when you start to go into this and start to comment out your code, if you could for me, please, just put the part number that you have, part A, part B, part C, etc., etc. on here. So in this problem, it asks you, the first part is part A, prompt the user for input two integers in this thing, and all you're doing is it gives you basically is your first integer. So you're going to come up here and declare your variables in this section. That's the first thing, or allocate your variables in this thing. So I'll start out with some of the things that you're going to start out with in this thing. So they're going to be int first num, second num. Okay, so this is what they tell you basically. First number and second number is to prompt the user with this thing, and I hope by now you should be familiar to know how to prompt the user and how to read in this number right here. So all that's in part A. Simple enough. Come down in part B. It's going to ask you to output all the odd numbers between the first and the second. Now, when you think about this thing, that's inclusive, by the way. So if I put in a number, you prompt the user, and you put in the number 1 through space 5. Now, just to FYI with that, let me pause here a second here. When you do give instructions up here, make sure you include, prompt the user. You're gonna do cout, tell the user, please input two numbers, and telling them maybe the first number, okay, is what, less than the second number, with two numbers, input two numbers with the first number less than the second number. Okay, so separated by a space. Okay, so that's what you buy with a space. So I don't know how you're going to do this thing, but you got to see out the statement right here. Please input two numbers. Alright, please input two numbers with the first number less than the second number separated by a space. Okay, that's the first thing, and then you need to read it in. How do you read in the two numbers? Cin, insertion, first num, insertion, second num. That's how you read it in. Your second part, part B, talks to you about what if you do read in the numbers. So let me give an example. So if they put in 1 to 5, and you want them, and according to B says output all the odd numbers for it. So 1 through first num is going to be stored as 1. It's going to be stored in first num. 5 is going to be stored in your second num. You're going to actually output this thing. You need to output it. What's your odd number? 1, 3, and 5. So it's inclusive. Inclusive means it's including first num and second num. So let's say if you did first num is 1 and the last num is 10, for example, you're going to output what? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Stops right there. Okay? So that's very important for you to see how that actually takes place with it. Now, so let's take a look at part B. So it says output all the odd numbers between your first num and your second num. Alright? If you think about this, alright, so once you read this in, by the way, after you read in, you prompt the user. You're on prompt the user, going back to part A. I just don't want to leave this. Prompt the user, meaning the question. After you prompt the user, you're going to read in the two numbers, right? And then I need for you to actually do a cout, meaning move to the next line. Put a blank line. Put a blank line after reading in the two numbers. That way the user know that you have read in with it. Part B, again, two numbers that you have to actually run through this part. Think about this. This is the part that I want to talk to you about. It's this part right here. So how do you determine if a number is an odd or even? How do you really think about a number is odd and even? The number is odd or even if you take the number, in whatever the number that you read in this case, that first number. Alright? So if I said to you, my first num is 1. How do you know that this is an odd or an even? If I divide it by 2, if I don't have a remainder, that means it's an even. If I divide by 2 and I get a remainder, it's an odd. So what operator that we talked about that you recall in our discussion in chapter 2 that deals with remainder is the mod. So you have to look up, the mod means the remainder. What is the remainder of a number? Two numbers divided together with the same. So you have to understand how the mod works. This is so very important. Remainder of a number. If there's a remainder after it, then there is a mod. Now just to recap. Just to remind some things here. Let me pause here really quick. I'm running out of minutes here.